Hello, it is Sandra Pelly, the Sandini, Inner Dragon Bridge, as well as the Galactic Shaman. And I'm very excited always to come and answer questions. I have a couple from previously, as well as the ones that the people from July have asked. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that right now. And you know what? The comments right now is it's never too late to step in, and I just really want to tell you that it is never too late to step in. You can just step into whatever you want to, one small step at a time, one breath at a time. So let's take a moment first to take a few breaths. Inviting the mind, body, and soul and all aspects of self to be willing to receive and share, to accept, trust, and believe, and to wholeheartedly know that this beautiful space, this beautiful container, is being created for the highest good, for the most benevolent reasons, and the greatest good of all. And allowing yourself to step into the wonder and the magic of yourself, the me, myself, and I, the power of all that you can be. Okay? And that's the little you and the higher self in the physical body, and it's also the inner child in the body and the inner dragon energy. So just, kind of stepping into all of that. I'm going to go ahead and begin answering some questions now. So Joan would like a general reading, and that general, what's coming up for you in this beautiful general reading, just bear with me here a moment. I gotta swing back and see where I'm at 2 minutes in. I like to let people know where to find the answers. July 15th. Okay. So Joan would like a general reading. So that general reading, I am feeling this beautiful wind coming through, Joan. And in this wind, it's like the tides of change. And it's so interesting that I say the tides, and yet I'm speaking about the wind as well. So there's possibly some confusion going on, and let me just feel into this a bit more here. Not necessarily confusion. I like this. Thank you. So there's eddies of answers, vortexes of answers, pockets of answers that are coming up for you, Joan. There's something very powerful right now. It's a latent power, something to do with a greeny mauve color, which is really interesting because I thought I was going green, but apparently it's a greeny mauve color. And really, whether that's a crystal, whether that's a plant, whether that is an article of clothing, you're really being invited into recognizing this color and what it might mean for you. Okay, that's your general reading. Beautiful. I love that. Okay, so the next question I have is from the beautiful Alejandra. And what she's asking is, am I on the right path? I love this question. Oftentimes when we ask questions like that, it's because there's something that we're bumping up against. There's either some resistance or there's something that we're hitting up against that's making us question that, right? And so, what I'd like to say to that, or what's coming through about that, there's a hurdle. And it's so interesting because I saw this reel or this video or something like that where the person was in a hurdle race and everybody except her were just zooming, going as fast as they could go, right? And she was literally going over with grace and ease, doing her thing. And it was really beautiful to witness into the magic of that. And the explanation behind that was that this race was only part of the big series of the races. So she didn't have to go all out. She already had her place. She already had the ability. She knew what she was capable of. And so she just went with the flow. So that's the message that's coming up, Alejandra, is What is the flow around you right now? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel right? I've been working a lot right now with people working with the dominant inner dragon archetype that they inhabit. And then there's the inner dragon archetype that leads them forward. The inner dragon archetype that we inhabit, is inhabited within us, is the one that's filled with all the lessons that we've been learning until now. And if I was to say to you, what is the biggest lesson that you learned in your life, Alejandra? And anybody else? I'm going to give you a moment. What is the biggest lesson that you learned in your life? And don't be glib, don't be snide, don't be yeah about it. Give yourself over to letting that answer come through. That there is likely part of the path leading forward from right now as well. Okay, my inner child work, which was what my biggest lessons were around inner child work, and I say that, and well, everybody's got inner child work. No, there's very specific stuff around that had me moving through that so that I could learn that the inner dragon energy was coming through. So for me, it was the inner child lessons were very specifically leading me in the direction of finding my power and being open enough and opening myself up and expanding in the energy of that to witness this new piece of the inner dragon. So when I say to look at what it is that you feel the biggest lesson was in your life, that's what you teach from. Okay. And I can go into a whole lot more detail around that. I'm going to leave it at that. You asked the question, am I on the right path? Is that path that you're on feel, now it's going to feel bumpy whether it's the right path or the wrong path. And I dislike the wrong path is just a different path, okay? If it feels in your gut like this is absolutely gross, I dislike this, then it's the wrong path. It's choose a different path, okay? If it feels like, oh, I got some anxiety in my belly, except that when I feel into this, it kind of maybe I've got some excitement about this. Maybe I'm looking forward to this. Then that is a good path direction to go on. And then if it just lights you up like, holy crap, then you wouldn't even be asking this question, right? So I leave that ball in your court for you, Alejandra. Thank you. Jason, I want to say thank you so much. This is a comical question. Uh, um, I'm actually going to answer this because I know that maybe you're asking this with a little bit of sarcasm and maybe you actually want to know the answer. But I'm going to answer this from my perspective right now in the energy of what I'm doing in this Q&A. And I love that it's 8:08 when I'm doing this, and it's probably going to be 8 minutes, 8:18 when I start to actually physically answer the question. And it is 8:18. I love that. So the question is, would I fight? Oh, let me hit the screen again here. If I had to fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, which would you choose and why? I truly believe that it is likely that I would I wouldn't necessarily shoot. Interesting that I use that terminology though. I would fight the one item versus the 100 items. It's like the buffalo and the cow. The cow will turn around and try to get away from the storm, but the steep storm keeps going with it. And I feel very much that that would be what would happen if it was 100 duck-sized horses, that they would always be coming at me. If I was like the buffalo, which is what I normally choose to be, it goes into the storm so that it goes through the storm and it no longer has to deal with the storm. And that's why I would choose the one duck-sized, let me think of this, one horse-sized duck. That is why I would choose the one horse-sized duck over the 100 duck-sized horses, because this is the problem in front of me instead of all those 100 problems, and I would deal with that one problem. I love that. Thank you for that question. Really cool question. And then another question that I have here. What do you think of tuning forks? Interesting question. Interesting question. I see somebody that liked what I said there about something, but feel free to make a comment or to ask a question yourself, whoever's watching. I'm unable to tell because I'm where I'm at. Leave a question. I would love to answer a question for you. And obviously, it could be a pretty random question, right? So this next person, Gladys, I'm going to answer your question. And your question is, what do you think of tuning forks? Okay, so I'm going to move away from the energy of randomly connecting in with source. Yeah, and I'm first of all, it feels very much like you're asking me personally, what do I think of tuning forks? I personally do not have any tuning forks. However, I also energetically believe that I can connect into frequencies, that I can move my body into a frequency. Having said that, I love going to places that use tuning forks because it helps you to also feel what that frequency is. So, what do I think of tuning forks? I think they're cool. I personally do not have any because I have so many other types of things. They were not the thing that would be my forte. If tuning forks is something that you're very drawn to, know that it will lead you down a beautiful path. Okay. And I use myself as the example. Um, when I first injured myself way back when, and maybe I shouldn't necessarily say when I first injured myself, with my first major injury, which was a stepping off a stepladder and dislocating my pelvis on both sides, I went to a healing facilitator who did orthobionomy. And orthobionomy would be the thing that got me to here. Do I practice orthobionomy? Um, is it the main thing of my life anymore? No, it isn't. However, I did go do training. I did get a number of classes under my belt. I traveled near and far to go and do the training for this. However, it has also helped me to evolve, feel energy, recognize energy, and see all of these other bits and pieces that led me into a shaman stuff, that's led me into becoming the galactic shaman, that's become evolved my what previously I had of limitations into having no limitations, right? So know that the tuning forks, if this is something that you're keenly interested in, go for it. It's really amazing the places that it will lead you to. Okay, beautiful. Okay, and you know what? I believe that is the end of the questions. Short and sweet. There was 3 there and 1 there, and I believe that is it. Oh, vibrant hearts. Can we talk about dragons? For sure. I opened this with talking about dragons. So, the Vibrant Heart. Thank you so much for being here too. I know that I just met you over in the Dragon Thunder Summit, and thank you for providing the opportunity for me to say something about the Dragon Thunder Summit. If you ever have the chance to witness the Thunder Summit live, I highly recommend it. And all of that is available for replay as well. So go check it out. It's absolutely incredible. I know a number of the speakers there, and they're all so beautifully magical. So Vibrant Hearts says, can we talk about dragons? I'm looking at how to tap into why I chose to be a human and get to know my dragon family more. You know what? I love this question. Oh my gosh. Give me a second. I just got to have a drink of water. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so Vibrant Heart's next comment in this was, I'm going to share this because it's important. I loved how interactive your session was. I couldn't stop smiling. I do. I am a very interactive uh, facilitator, I guess the word could be, coach, mentor, partner, collaborator, uh, leader, follower, whatever it is. I am very interactive. So I want to tell you a story, Vibrant Heart, and any others who are here listening. When, gosh, I can't even remember what year it was. It was a number of years ago. I'm guessing probably close to 10 years ago now. There was a lady in my life who had a very specific cat. And she wanted to learn a little bit more about that cat and why it was what it was. So let me give you a little bit of background. This cat had some physical issues, physical problems. It was in a diaper because of these physical issues, and there was some other kind of things going on. Like it wasn't a cat in what most people would consider a healthy form of a cat. And I notice I put most people would consider a healthy form. Um, Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, correct? Uh, anyway, she asked me to connect with the cat and find out kind of what was going on. And this cat was very confused. And I came to understand and be able to communicate to, first of all, the cat and then to its owner, that this cat had chosen to come into cat form versus a human form. Because in wherever we are when we decide to come into whatever we're going to be, like when we made the choice to be, I made the choice to be in this lifetime Sandra Pelly, or Sandra Desjardins was my maiden name. Just as each of you have come in to be in whoever you are, when that cat had that opportunity to make that decision, it had many things laid in front of it. One of the things it had laid in front of it was that it was going to be a human. Another thing was it was going to be a cat. In both cases, it was going to have the same problem or same issue or whatever, however you want to label that, right? And so it knew it would likely be ridiculed if it came into human existence in the form that it was, and it chose to come in as a cat. So there's kind of one kind of understanding about the choices that we make. So when you talk about, I'm looking at how to tap into why I chose to be a human and get to know my dragon family more. What's the underlying question there? Are you asking why didn't I become a dragon instead of a human? Like, what's the underlying question to that? Okay. Uh, I'm looking at how to tap into why I chose to be human and get to know my dragon family more. I think the get to know the dragon family more is really indicative of the times that we're living in right now, and that the dragon energy is massively huge and it's asking to be brought into the forefront. That is why I do the inner dragon stuff. That's why the inner dragon stuff came up for me. It's why I had to heal my inner child so that I would be able to be strong and confident in my abilities and capabilities with regards to no limitations and no expectations as I delved into what does inner dragon mean for humanity, right? So that's why I'm not a dragon per se. However, I needed to come into this lifetime and do and deal with everything that I dealt with so that I was prepared to bring inner dragon energy into humanity. Okay? So what's another underlying question that you have there, Miss Vibrant Hearts? Otherwise, we are basically done, and I have thoroughly enjoyed doing the Q&A. There's a question from Vibrant Heart. Thank you. If I was a dragon, I'm going to put this on the screen. If I was a dragon, I feel like I could do more, and I think I see myself as a human with limited parts, and yet I know I am called to travel interdimensionally, so I'm looking for clarity, I guess. And hello, Anna. Thank you for giving me your name. I appreciate you. Uh, so I love this question because you're giving two sides of things. One is you're giving the very human side of your limitation of thinking like a human. Okay. I literally spent probably all of 2023 moving out of I wanted to move out of human concept. I wanted to shift my thinking into a different way of thinking, meaning that if how do I want to, I don't even know how to phrase this, so I'm going to use your example here. Um, you know you're called to travel interdimensionally. You are traveling interdimensionally. Okay, there's that's already happening. You are likely a dragon in one of those interdimensions. Accept that, be that, allow that energy to come through. And man, oh man, my just saying that, it feels like the Anna, like I know you as Vibrant Hearts, but now that Anna, I could just feel the energy of that dragon energy coming up. So feel your wings. Feel what your legs would be shaped like. Feel what your upper limbs would be shaped like. If you were a dragon, or wherever you are a dragon in that dimension, right? Very, very powerful, very powerful. So I'm going to read this again. If I was a dragon, I feel like I could do more. Okay, so start in your own world, start to expand on what that more is. Like, you don't need to write it in here unless you want to, but expand on that for yourself. What is that more? And then start to see what it is. It's just like, when my truck broke down and I was stuck in a town without my mountain bike and I had to figure out what to do, and I asked the divine source, what am I going to do? It basically said, well, you could ask some questions about inner dragon. So this was about, 6 months into my inner dragon journey. I'm now like a year and a half, almost a year and 3/4. And when I sat down, I asked the questions. However, I switched it up. I literally went, okay, I don't want to ask about this for myself. I want to ask what the inner dragon energy is for humanity. So when you have that question, if I was a dragon and I feel like I could do more, what is that more for humanity? Because that's what dragons are all about. Dragons are big energy that are about forward moving, right? So you continue to say, and I love this. We're having a one-on-one here. You recognize that, right? I see myself as having one foot in spirituality and one foot in physicality. I feel more wholly spiritual, and there's a gap for that manifesting in my physical world. Create the bridge. This is what we're doing here. I'm asking you to look at that more. What could I do that's more? And start to actually activate those pieces within yourself, okay? Like, how can I expand on that? See myself, I feel more holy spiritual. As I mentioned, I spent all of 2023 attempting to go beyond the human concept. In fact, for a year and a half, I physically was saying that in fact, it still comes up in conversations that, oh, you're thinking like a human. Move past that, right? And that's what I see you doing here. You're thinking like a human. So if you were to be the dragon and you were physically in both those spots, spiritually and physicality, what is the do more that you feel drawn to do? And let that start to happen, right? I love that. Okay, I just did that the other day, was stuck for 20 minutes on my own and just loved having that story in the back of my mind. I feel the call to spend time with myself. I'm all about embodying this. I'm so utterly committed to showing up for myself and taking action. I love that. So you said a very powerful word there, embody. Embody that dragon that you believe you are in another dimension, and be that in this dimension, right? So when I talk about the inner dragon energy, and you got that quiz, Anna, the one about the leading inner dragon. If you took that quiz, which leading archetype, inner dragon archetype, are you? And that is some profound information right there. Also, too, I had mentioned on the call that you were on that there's a previous quiz, couple quizzes that show you who your dominant one was leading up till now, the inner dragon archetype. Creator, so in the sacral chakra, very, very specific. So the leading archetypes are only in one chakra specifically. And what I mean is all 7 archetypes have a very specific chakra for each archetype, okay? I love this. So now if you shift it into the energy of like recognizing, I asked a question of somebody here earlier, and it was that what's the big thing that changed your life? What was the big aha moment that changed your life? Start from there and then work with that dragon energy, that creator in the sacral chakra. This is beautiful. I love this. I love this. Okay. Also, too, if you weren't aware of it, I've been doing the 30-day challenge. We're day 15 today. Each week in that challenge, we're doing a follow-up call for any questions around the inner child, inner dragon. I love calling my inner child the little you. We had a call last week. Very, very cool. Really, really interesting. A couple ladies showed up. The call today, it was men and women, and wow, the stuff that unfolded in there. I brought some of that into this call with you today, Anna. So I appreciate being able to do that. The last question I chose, follow my heart, but there is a sadness and confusion there because I saw my parents following their hearts, maybe their ego, and it led them to disaster. Know that you can write your own story. Okay? Know that you can write your own story. So if you are feeling like you're on the same path as them, that is the limiting belief that is coming up for you. And that is why you are feeling torn between wanting to be fully in that spiritual or fully in that physicality and be the dragon. It's because you've seen disaster happen. You have the ability and the power to create your own story. And I really want you to step into the energy of that. There are very specific mantras too. I am doing that class on July 29th. It's gone out in my emails. It's on this feed of my Facebook business page. That's about the whisper to the future, and it explains a lot more about that as well. You guys have been awesome. Thank you, Anna, for coming and hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.